the other additions? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the amended?
I move to accept the minutes as so amended.
Have a motion and a second by Mr. Lexi. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Treasurer's report, Mr. Sherman.
Good afternoon. You have in your packets the check register from January the 8th through March the 8th. I have all of the vouchers here, so if that's a question, I'll be reviewing and signing those after during the meeting.
I have a question, Pat.
Yes, sir.
On the check register, too. There's a check number 1730 Amazon. It just says Amazon.
Those are to Amazon. I have all the receipts detailed that I review before I sign them. If you want to see those, I can show them to you, but we have, is that
Yeah, what?
answering your question? I mean, it's made
Well,
out to Amazon.
Yeah. What we do at the county level is they give us a manifest. So if else have Amazon charges, then we see what they actually.
And I have that, I reviewed that.
Go ahead. You did it.
In the future. You provide us. Thank you.
And then I had a question on Aspire Economic Development, $360.
That's the Greenwood Aspire.
Yeah, I know what it is, but
Is that your annual membership?
That's our annual, yeah, annual membership.
so were you a member of Greenwood Chamber prior to that?
Oh, yeah, we've been a member for almost
So you're
30
just
years.
Continuing that? Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I just went to the legislative luncheon the other day and with that, you know.
Okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'll get those, we'll get those to the board on the Amazon.
Any further questions about the check register? None, do I have a motion to approve? Motion by John, second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Walls. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries as well. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Director's report.
And I should say, Commissioner West, we actually do partner with both Franklin and Greenwood quite a bit because when they are looking for, you know, kind of government entities or of course environmental, they do call upon us. So we do participate in a lot of their programming and we appreciate it because they help us too. So I would like to welcome Councilman Myers. It's great to have you. So of course, if you have any question throughout, please feel free to ask. If you have any questions afterwards, if you want to come by, anything, you know, we're here for you. You will find that we do a lot of varied things, not just recycling. And so, which, you know, sometimes leads people a little bit confused just because of our name, but we are there to help in any way. So any questions you have, we're happy to answer. Myself and Carla are, of course, in the administrative office. And then we also have the recycling center on site and staff, and our supervisor for that is Stephen Fair. And then we have a few part-time employees. We also have a location down in Edinburgh where we pay for the recycling and they actually pay for the person to man that or staff that site. One of the things over the years that we quickly recognized as, especially as recycling, China shutting down its role in recycling from taking material from outside the country, we realized that our material was not the quality it needed to be. So we had to shut down our unstaffed sites. We reopened with staff sites. We have amazing product. We have great participation, but that's just kind of a quick synopsis of why maybe our numbers have changed over the years. If you've heard numbers, which I know you have from being on the council, and why we also are operating outside of a facility in Franklin and in Edinburgh. So. Spring programming, we're hoping to have some things. We are going to do a blood drive on April 1st. That has worked out well for us. That brings people kind of out to see what's going on. Also, we call it, you know, the best for use that saves a life. So we will do that as we have done in the past. We are also doing a shredding and HHW day on the third Saturday of the month. That's from 9 to noon. And I am sure that will be very busy. It always is. When we get to the numbers, you'll see the types of tonnage we brought in shredded paper for just 2 events. And we are also going to be doing 1 or 2 school programs. I shouldn't just say school, I should say younger programs, where we're going to put out there, one of the other districts last year did take a product from your home and repurpose it. And so she got a lot of, people making things out of cans, people making picture frames out of things. And so we're gonna post that on our Facebook. Of course, we've been using a lot of social media, and then give some prizes for kind of the top 5. We'll let people vote, and then we'll send them a t-shirt and some other little goodies that we do. So we're excited for that. At least it keeps people interested. I will say it once again, our social media continues to grow. One of the things I have found is that if you put a couple of just interesting stories that you can somehow relate, people start paying attention to those stories that you really want them to relate to. So we've been putting a lot of information out there through social media, and that's worked out well. We also continue to partner. We've been growing some of our partnerships, especially with the not-for-profits, because we've had a lot of material that's kind of sitting there in creative resources right now, because we don't have a lot of teachers coming in the door. So we've been able to ask, well, what is it that you need? And we've been collecting things specific to what the organization needs. So that's been good for us, because we feel like, we're helping them out, but it's also been good for just getting some of the material that we're able to get from creative resources out the door. Also, it allows Carla to kind of look and see, can I order specific things that maybe these groups might need? And of course, it's free, so it helps them. So that's been wonderful for us. And the back, and of course, the recycling part-timers in the back, they love it too, because they get to collect different things and kind of talk about what we're doing and why. So we did have some interesting times during the weather. Our gate froze. Of course, we couldn't keep the back doors open because it was so cold, afraid to freeze the pipes. But we did do our best. We actually did have to have the gate fixed, but thankfully they came right out and fixed that for us. It's also a question of where to put the snow, right? Because, normally you push it to the edge. Well, all of our stuff sits at the edge, so you have to kind of physically lift it and put it over the other side. But we made it through. We most likely will purchase some sort of battery operated or electric snow blower for next year. That's one of the things we learned, is that if we do have any sort of snow like that, we have to be able to create a path for the forklift to get through a little bit quicker than maybe somebody else can do for us, because they obviously don't get behind the gate where we have to get behind. So again, you live and learn. Everything's new for us. We've only been doing this for, not even 2 years yet. And of course, this is the first snow we've had in how long? So it was a learning lesson, but we made it through. So if you look, we provided you with our overall numbers for last year, which, considering all that we faced, were not too bad. I do want to mention, after we left our last meeting, we still had trees coming in. We had about 200 more trees added to our numbers, which was fine for us. So it got us closer to what we kind of expected. So that's why there is a little bit of difference in what our numbers actually ended up being and what we initially had reported. We also saw a huge increase, of course, even though we were shut some of the time because of COVID, in our commingle numbers. Remember, we used to collect probably 10 times that amount, but we also know that a large portion of what we actually collected was not recyclable. So this is truly 117 tons of clean, recyclable material. 42 tons of which was cardboard, which is what we're trying to do. So bear that in mind when we talk about what we want to do in the future. If we're staying in our location, if maybe we can work on getting a grant that would allow us to get a truck and a, horizontal baler instead of a vertical baler, we are collecting cardboard. And if we could go pick it up, because maybe we had another full-time employee, we would start continuing to see that increase and continuing to help the businesses around our area. So I'm going to put numbers together as we go through and as we're looking at budget going forward, because we will be talking about the rental space as well as, what we are looking to for the future as we're talking about next year's budget. But we are really thrilled with that. Again, clean glass, clean cardboard, clean plastics. I mean, everything is stellar. So we could not ask for more. And we just hope to continue to see that grow. I know that January was really big. It was actually one of our biggest months that we've had since we've been open. And even during the weather of February, we still saw, as many people coming. So I know as things get better during the spring and summer months, we'll continue to see that growth. Box numbers, of course, were down because we were only open for about 4 months, but we still, believe it or not, and we've discussed this before, it was still about the same cost as it was the year before. That just goes to show how much we went down, probably 9 tons, and it was literally the same cost. So costs for household hazardous waste has increased exponentially. So we will be looking at that too as we get closer, because we opened on March 1st. We've had quite a few appointments already made. People are bringing us their materials. It's what we want. I actually talked to New Whiteland. They were hoping to host an event, and I just said, be careful what you wish for. You might want to really sit back and think about that and talk to me a little bit more. So, but again, at 10.5 tons of just shredding out of 2 events is a lot. Our e-waste continues to stay about the same, and considering that, again, we were closed a lot, that says a lot. Obviously, creative resources, we hardly had anybody. So I just spoke about what we're continuing to do and the fact that we are really working with those community outreach programs. So we are probably giving more outreach out the door than we probably even have visitors in general over the past couple of years, but it's been wonderful. And of course, we've created some new programming. We have been working with the, it says Education Garden. I'd like to tell you that I know what the Education Garden is. Oh yes, I know. That's what Carla called it. I do know what it is. So we have created the Education Garden outside of our facility, which has been great because, as you know, the walking trail now comes by. And so we have people come by, take pictures. We will be creating a bug hive. So hopefully it'll be bringing bees and all different types of bugs that shows what you can do with pallets. It's actually really cool. We have several little areas that we're going to grow some tomatoes and some different things. So if people want to sit on the bench and pick a tomato, they can do so. As you know, we started with a small garden area. We've now been expanding to all the area up in front of the windows and up to the recycling center. So it's been really neat. And of course, the little lending library, we continue to do that. I've had some good fun with that. We kind of take pictures and say, here's where we were today, and help people, people have to find it. And we put in little goodies that talk about us. I actually talked to Soil and Water, the group that meets for water quality, and said, hey, if you guys want to do something like that around, April, May for them, we'll go through and we'll put out some of their information talking about water quality, especially as people are washing their cars more and doing different things. So we've had fun. We've really come up with some different ideas to be able to educate the public, since we can't go directly into schools or host programs. We do hope to have a rain barrel class again. We are waiting for Jay County to figure out how many barrels they actually use at the end of April. And I'm hoping that they have many barrels left so that we can host that. We're going to be partnering with Greenwood for that again. And we're looking to do that about mid-June. And we collected more batteries than we actually have in the past 2 years at 2,336 pounds. We, of course, work with both the police and fire departments in collecting their batteries to help them to get those recycled properly. And our pharmaceutical numbers too were up almost 2,000, which says a lot too, considering Greenwood was closed for part of the time. And actually a lot of people were closed because of COVID. So our numbers continue to grow in that program as well. So all in all, not a bad year, even though, COVID kind of took us out of the game a little bit. Any questions?
Back to the snow, as industrious as you and Carla, I'm surprised you guys weren't out there with snow shovels.
Yeah.
I shoveled the parking lot one day.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
shoveled
See
my
that,
parking
when
lot.
you brought it up, I could just see those two out there with snow shovels.
Yeah, it's and thank God. I mean, Steven, he comes in early. He does. I'm like, but at some point, when the snow starts getting 6, 7, 8 inches, we're trying, and then they piled it up. I'm like, there has to be a better way. So yeah, and on the back, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge all the community partners that we do have. We actually did go through and remove 1 or 2 and add 1 or 2. we truly do work with these people on a regular basis. Either they reach out to us or we reach out to them. I'll give you a perfect example. We needed something for our new website. I contacted Discover Downtown Franklin. I said, you have a picture that I love. Can I use it? Sure, absolutely. So, we are blessed to have the community partners instead of somebody saying, well, we paid somebody to do that. So, it really is a blessing, and we continue to cherish that and be thankful for the community that we're involved in, including, like I said, both the Spire and the Franklin Chamber and all of them. They really do work to help us and see what can we do, especially when I say, please don't raise my rates anymore. They asked if they could donate back to us. I was like, well, if you're gonna donate back to us, just take $20 off. So.
Any other questions, Jesse? Thank you very much.
And we do have one last thing, we did get CPR training in, so everybody is CPR trained again, as we should be. We were about a year behind on that, so everybody is back up to date. So, thank you.
Very good. Legal report.
Thank you, sir. I believe you had circulated part with the agenda, a couple of professional services agreement. One of those is for your controller, Mr. Sherman, and retaining his services to continue. You may recall that statutorily, you have to identify a controller, and that's required under the statute for purposes of reviewing your claims. The other contract that is before you is for professional legal services. You have no requirement under statute to appoint a legal services attorney, but I think Pat and I have done this for how long?
Not even sure.
It's been since 1995. The terms and conditions are the same, including the rates at 135. And we have not raised those or adjusted those, but we should have one on file for every year. So I present those for your consideration, and if so inclined.
I find it hard to believe that on the income statement, we're only billing for 1 hour this year.
That's correct. Part of this is,
There's
Quite
gotta be some
frankly-
credits in there somewhere, right?
I believe, in the cause, and it's part of the service. It's part, and Pat feels the same.
So Pat's got his rates in half.
Well, they've been that.
Oh, he took the eyeball there, didn't he? Too early for a reassurance on that
If
one.
you wish to do me a favor and discharge me, that would be fine. But I believe in the cause. And with all due respect, staff is very, very good at, when they come to me with a problem, they generally have a proposed solution. And I would also say that the county attorneys have been very good and easy to work with too. So it's fair.
Well, I thank both you and Pat for your time of service. I know you guys put a lot more time into it than what you're billing for. Thank you for that.
I think I'm looking at a board of people that are familiar with that concept, as you all do.
Over many years.
Okay, so do I have a motion first to accept the accounting and legal services agreement?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any further questions?
I think you did a roll call.
Roll call on this.
Yes, we need to do a roll call vote on this. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Okay,
Thank you, Charlie.
Ron West,
Yes.
Kevin Walls,
Yes.
Brian Baird,
Yes.
Mark Myers,
Yes.
Don Graham,
Yes.
John Myers,
Yes.
David Lexi.
Yes.
Thank you.
And then also we have the conflict of interest disclosure statement for Pat Sherman.
Actually, these are uniform conflict of interest disclosure statements for all of you. I'm not expecting that you fill them out, but if you can get them to us before the next meeting, disclosing any interest that most of you say not applicable, not applicable, but we all have them on file with the state board of accounts. So if you want to just bring them.
I've filled mine out.
Oh, did you fill yours
Yeah,
out?
he's already.
And yeah, and we would ask that you approve hats that's presented to you, and then if you would all bring them back to the next meeting. Great, thank you, Tasha. I didn't know, concern.
Do we have a motion to approve Mr. Sherman's conflict of interest statement? So moved. Second? Second by John Meyer.
Mayor, you might notice on our bank statements, there's not a compass point. Just so call the board, especially new board members, John our firm pulls the information, pulls all the funds out of the checking account for the district, puts them into payroll accounts so that we can electronically pay the employees in the district. So that's when you see those monies coming in and out, there's typically two, or required to have it covered 3 days by the bank before we issue checks. And then there's always a follow-up that we chew it up because we pull less out than what the payroll stuff. So that way, when you see those on the list, Compass Point, that's what that is. Thank you.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Ron West,
Yes.
Kevin Walls,
Yes.
Brian Baird,
Yes.
Mark Myers,
Yes.
Don Graham,
Yes.
John Myers,
Yes.
David Lexi.
Yes.
I have nothing further, sir.
We have no old business. The only new business we have listed is the next board meeting is May the 10th, 2021. Any public comment?
No.
So public comment, doesn't
We don't have
have
that public.
Okay, do you have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Very adjourned.